is Scott Jagger, and I just want to thank you very much for attending today's webinar, where we're going to be examining the outdoor retail sales of the January through June period of this year. And we want, our goal is to give you as much ammunition as possible headed into Outdoor Retailer just next week. And I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to listen today. And again, ammunition, whether you're a buyer or a seller, we want to give you as much information as possible. And first things first, we are in a webinar environment, which means I can hear you, you can hear me, and I cannot hear you. You cannot raise your hand. I'm not going to see it, but you can go into the question box in your GoToWebinar dialog box and ask questions. And at the end, we are absolutely going to have a question and answer session and try to get as many of those answered as possible. Also, we are recording this webinar today, so if you are unable to sit through the entirety of it, or if you'd like to share it with others, we will have this posted to our website tomorrow, and we can also send you the link. So if you have a special request for that, we are happy to do so. So let's just jump right in. First thing again, this is for you and your company's private knowledge, and you're not allowed to copy it or publish, reproduce, or use or divulge to anyone else without the express written consent of Leisure Trends Group. We got that out of the way. And who's telling you that you can't send this anywhere? Well, I am Scott Jagger, and I am the Senior Manager of Retail Analytics here at Leisure Trends, and I have been with the company 14 years, and I've been in the market research and outdoor space for almost 20. So obviously I love my job, and I've been doing it for quite a while. Been watching a lot of trends come and go through the years, and it's always been great working with this industry and helping it grow. And who's Leisure Trends? Well, we are a Boulder, Colorado-based consumer research, tracking, and consulting company. And, we specialize in how people play. And we love that, and we love helping the industry that helps people do that. Leisure Trends Group has one job, and that is to make you smarter. And it is to give you the wisdom to make actionable and profitable, I'll say it, profitable decisions to grow your business and our industry as a whole. And we do that by answering questions. And the questions that we answer are the big ones out there, obviously. We answer the whats and whens of what is selling and when is it selling through our retail tracking. We found out the why of why do consumers do what they do with our extremely talented and PhD-ridden consumer research department. And we also figure out the how. How do you increase your sales? How do you drive people to sales and add customers and retain your customers? And we do that through our customer relationship marketing. So any one of these three things is going to help your company grow. You use all three together, you have the potential to truly transform your business and really put yourself out up on top of that Archimedean point, looking down, seeing what is selling, knowing why it is selling, and how to make those sales happen even faster. And again, our job is to take simple data that we collect from our retail tracking or for our consumer research or from all those consumer databases and turn that into wisdom that you can use and go out and turn profits. That's the beginning. We're done. It only took 3 minutes. So today's agenda. Obviously, we're going to talk about the macro trends, and it's good. The outdoor industry is relatively healthy. It's up 9%. It's beating the National Retail Federation, which grew 3% for its retail sales. It's the best first half of the year ever on record for Leisure Trends Group in the outdoor industry. So it's phenomenal. We are seeing strength in all three channels, which is also very good to see. The Internet's growing the fastest, but it's coming from a smaller base. Chain is healthy, and specialty is still up 5%, which is really good. More incremental, but slow and steady wins the race. And we're seeing strong sportswear and outerwear from the early Q1 sales. Equipment had a really good spring, slowing a little in summertime, but doing well. but it's minimalism and those declines that are really tripping up footwear. And we're going to look at that very well, or very in depth today. We want to touch on consumer trends. It's experience. It's not possessions. You need to consider how people are going in after this after this recession, economic downturn. The way they purchase things is different, and they are now shopping for experiences that they can share online and with their friends and everything else. But it's a key differentiation from just a few years ago. We'll talk about what their planned spending is, which is relatively flat, but it's growing, and participation levels, which are relatively flat as well. But we are actually seeing a lot of churn within those people participating with a whole lot of different categories growing within that base. So people are trying different things, they're mixing it up, and that's a huge opportunity to sell them new and different products. And of course, we're going to jump into the retail track and see exactly what happened at retail this spring. We're going to look at these higher retail selling prices. We have price elasticity issues, and we want to examine those. Units increased just 3%. It was retail selling prices that jumped 6%, so that gave us that 9% dollar gain. What categories and what consumer trends are driving those sales? We want to get into that. We're going to do a deeper dive into sportswear, which is so key, especially now in that first half of the year, and also for outdoor summer, which we'll be buying for next year, and footwear, of course. We'll also be looking at inventory. Where is that sportswear inventory? Are those open to buys available going into OR, and in just overall health of the specialty channel? All right, let's talk larger trends. We are in a very, very fortunate position to be in the outdoor and / sporting goods industry. We have before us here what looks like a complicated graph, but it's not. What we want to see is really this blue line, which is sporting goods spending, in relationship to what happened in 2009 and how things are growing. There's unemployment going up. Our present situation index went south, which is essentially a consumer confidence number. And what we see is sporting goods against retail spending as a whole, excluding cars, parts, etc. We are a resilient category, or industry. We had faster rate of growth than retail as a whole. It declined less quickly and less deeply than retail as a whole, and it climbed up steadily and is now faster again as retail as a whole. People are going to pursue their passions. They are going to go and buy those hiking shoes, hiking boots. They're going to get the shells way before they, they're going to forego a delicious meal at Applebee's or something and make sure they have that outdoor product. And we are lucky in that sense. But these behaviors in our consumers, they did change over the last few years. They're buying closer to need. It's not just to want, like, ooh, I want that new jacket, I'm going to go buy it. Now they are looking around, shopping much more intensely, doing much more research, and when they do need that jacket, when it turns cold or when it starts to rain, then they're going to go in and they're going to purchase exactly what they want. So it's not, that's going to be nice to have, it's a need to have. And this is where it is vital that you have a strong brand name, strong reputation. It's the quality brands that they're going after, the ones with bomb-proof warranties where they treat the clientele well, and they are looking for tangible benefits. If there's a new technology, if it has better breathability or different things, UV protection, etc., that is going to be a selling point as well. They're going to buy it if they need it, and they're going to buy and even spend a little bit more money, but they are going to be paying attention to that exceptional quality. Just real quickly, things are good at that macro level for whole outdoor industry, but just retail at large. We've got consumer confidence now that's higher, highest since January of 2008, well before the big dip in Q4 of 2008. Our present situation index is up almost 5 points. And, Lynn Franco, one of my heroes, I say that somewhat facetiously, but not entirely, is really thinking that growth is going to be steady and even possibly pick up. Other consumer indicators are all up or flat at least. And the NRF, again, June over June sales grew 3%. We're already up 9% this year. And as much as we like to think we're economists talking about all the science of retail sales and everything, we are outdoor people and at heart, and unfortunately we are really dependent on the weather, so less economist, more farmer in some sense. And this spring was completely different than the spring of 2012. Last year, if you remember, these maps were this. The temperature was blazing red. It was the hottest year on record. It started hot. It just got hotter. This spring was wonderfully cooler and returned to normal, which did probably stall sales for a lot of categories. And we definitely saw it where last year spiked sales for certain industries. They are down from last year. But to see actual blues and whites across most of the country and only slightly above normal for the rest, that's very indicative and very telling on how these sales went this year. And the precip levels, this is a tale of two nations. East of the Mississippi is out of drought. They have actually had more rain than they know what to do with. It's been kind of miserable and wet for great swaths of the entire East and Midwest. And then we've got the West, which is hot. 44% of our country is in drought, and it's in the western states. And that's affecting things. And we have fires. We have too much heat. And that is also helping slow some sales a little bit, or at least keep them from accelerating even more. This is pretty much the view that every single weather forecast and everybody in the East and the Midwest saw. It's been cloudy. It's been wet. This is the view for people in the West. This is actually a picture of the Black Forest Fire in Colorado Springs. I chose this because it's significant. People are still outside trying to be active, doing things in this backdrop of all these horrible fires, not just Colorado, but in Arizona, California. Montana's had a few. It's a huge, huge issue in the West with these droughts going on. What that means is dollar sales grew 9%, units just 3%. That's fantastic for the outdoor industry, especially considering how great last year was in the warm temps, driving a lot of footwear, driving a lot of sportswear. Independent bike dealers, they have not been able to gain enough traction to overcome a phenomenal year last year. Paddle sports is neat. They started very slow but have picked up momentum in the last few months. And so while they were in a deficit, they are now even with last year, which is really actually strong, good sales for the paddle sport industry. That is being led especially by fishing kayaks and stand-up paddle boards. And a lot of new footwear brands are really blowing up in paddle sports. Sporting goods edging up, mostly to do with tech tees and shorts, just classic sporting goods apparel. And run specialty. Usually we're looking at 7, 8, 9, 10% growth. And this year it's only 1%. It's slower out of the gate. It's not cooperative in the East. It's definitely not as warm as it was last year. So run specialty is up, but not up as much as it has been in the past. And our snow sports season, with that first quarter actually having snow and being fairly healthy, was able to push total sales up 3%. All right, this is where we're going to get into our consumer research and consumer trends. And I'm going to fold this back into everything I talk about with retail, because it really is just an amazing trend driving sales, driving what people buy, how they buy, and what they're doing in the great outdoors. And the most powerful thing, we're going to put it right here in the middle, is experience collecting. It's no longer the BMW in the driveway. It's the bikes on top of the BMW, or it's the trip down the river, getting into the Grand Canyon or getting over to Nepal or traveling. It's all about the experience. Now we have these sub-trends. They're just as important, but they're all related to how people collect their experiences. And the first one, we're calling it Technofine. I'm not sure if that's a word. I mean, our PhDs are statisticians, not English majors. But Technofine, its technology is driving huge amount of sales in the outdoor space. And it's not just taking pictures and putting it on Facebook anymore. It's about tracking, mapping, timing, and competing with others in our activities. And I mean, it goes beyond just sharing. It's an integral part. And obviously, we've had heart rate monitors, wearable GPS for a long time. But the advent of the web cameras, not webcam, but action cameras, and Strava to pump all that up is leading from the technology side over to the sharing side. And it's one thing to have that technology, and it's one thing to have that experience, but we're getting back into the thing, like if a tree falls in the forest, do you really hear it? Well, if you climb a mountain and you don't post it to Facebook, did you really climb that mountain? It's getting to that point where everything is online. And if it's not online on Facebook, it's being uploaded to Strava and Maps My Ride. It's going into blogs, dare I say those things for the ultra egotistical types, but everything is being shared, and that's making it more of a community type thing when they're buying these products. They are getting peer reviews, they are having instant, although biased obviously, focus groups when they start talking about these things. So when they share, you want to make sure they're having the best experience possible, and it's a huge aspect of what we do when we're going outside. Now I'm going to pivot over here to condensing. Condensing is sort of just this evolution of what we've been talking about for years and years, where it used to be, people go for a week-long backpack, and then we talked about done in a weekend, and then done in a day. And now we're talking about done over lunch and 45 minutes. And now condensing is actually being rolled into, I'm riding my bike to work to get my exercise. I really like my employer because he or she has showers, so I can go out at lunch. And it's, I'm going to ride home, or I'm going to have clothing that I can wear to work that I can also go and use in a technical sense. And that leads me over here to blending. And blending is this trend where I think it's like probably the most important thing facing us as an outdoor industry, especially in the apparel and footwear side. The lines have become so blurred between our personal lives and our professional lives that we're seeking all-in-one products. Smartphones created an all-in-one versatility in electronics. It's not just a phone, but now I've got a map, I've got everything else. Well, clothing is needing to do that in a sense too. Consumers are looking for and buying apparel that takes them from work to the trail or to the gym and right out on to social gatherings at night. They want not just a shirt that's like tight and says I'm a runner, or a climbing shirt that they're buying products and they're using it for multiple activities, and that is having a huge impact on outdoor apparel sales, especially sportswear. But you're also seeing it in footwear. Cycling shoes are getting more casual. You can wear them around the office. The cleats are recessed, etc. And it's permeating. It's permeating what we see at retail these days, and it's only going to accelerate as we go forward. Participation is essentially flat, down a tiny bit. What they're doing is the people who are participating are doing more activities. You got more variety, and that's really fantastic. And again, that brings you back to the versatility is key. They're buying apparel, but they're going to buy it for multiple uses. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one particular activity or sport or type of outdoor activity. And they're looking for performance and styling. So obviously tech tees, they sell well, they're great, but more and more brands are coming out with really technical button-down short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts. You've always had these classic long sleeve shirts with the vents and the the sleeves that roll up, the UV protection and things. You're seeing that more in short sleeve shirts, quick dry, anti-funk. They are all selling very, very well at retail as more and more people try to find a shirt that does everything for them. Planned spending, tiny bit of increase. for the people saying more when they're going to spend on in sports, recreation, and fitness, 21 to 24, so 10 to 11 is great. And we get another point here. The same people, they're steady at 61%. Apparel, the median is still $100. Been that way 4 years. It's flat, but it does give you the opportunity. If you have a point of differentiation in your marketing or your technology or how you are branded, that is what's going to make the sale for you. There's no major catalyst or barrier to spending. Things are looking up, especially June, the new numbers. It's good. So that's not it. And again, we're going to have weather and economy control that. So what you can control is opportunity with the innovations, with the message, with selling the experience and being a versatile type product to get it out there. All right, let's just jump right into trends. And we're going to pivot a little bit away from apparel first and look at equipment, which is kind of the core outdoor thing. That's what makes the outdoor industry in a sense. And it's healthy. I mean, total outdoor equipment is up 8%. Tents, bags, and packs combined also up 8%. Tents, 13. If you notice, though, recreation tents are growing faster in a delta or a percentage and in the actual volume. That's condensing. That's our close-to-home trends. That's still out there. There is more recreational camping, car camping, visits to state parks, etc. And it's still going. And you need to accommodate those clients and customers in your stores and as a manufacturer preparing product for them. Interestingly, it's not the simple bags like the synthetic fill or car camping bags and things, but it's the down-fill mummy bags. And they're up. Got a lot of new product out there. They're doing well. They had a little bit of a dip in the recession. That's creature comfort. That's people out there wanting a better experience when they're sleeping. You're also going to see in a little bit that mattresses are up, camp furniture is up. So down, also very strong in outerwear. It's definitely trending up. Condensing, less and less time, less and less ability to get out and do things. It's the small packs. If you're not going out for a full afternoon, you don't need a large pack. And they grew 7%. And these small packs, since this is spring, is not going to be prolific with just book bags. These are a lot more going to be on the technical side. The book bags, the classic Jam Sports, and some of the North Face type products and things, they're going to show up August, September for sure. But in spring, this is stuff that's meant to go outside and do activity. Travel packs. This is pretty neat. Travel packs are up. Economy's improving. More and more people are traveling. And up 26% is not insignificant. Travel packs also are morphing. They are really not just the giant backpack that you have when you travel across Europe with the stowable suspension, etc. These are now evolving because it's too expensive to check bags. They're getting smaller. They're getting, ability to be carry-ons and shoved above your seat. Some will have wheels. Some, will still have a stowable suspension and everything, but they are getting smaller, leaner, and meaner for shorter trips. Again, who gets to travel for that long these days? And neat little category here, kid carriers. They bounced back. They have been consistently growing over the years. They have a nice bounce this year. Very interesting category as you watch one brand eclipse another 3 times in a row over the past 5-6 years. And so what was one brand that was a leader for years was replaced by another who had phenomenal growth. And now we've got a new one coming in the last 2 years driving those sales. And kid carriers make tremendous gifts for people, who don't have kids, to people who just had kids. As far as the new baby registries or whatever, that's definitely a selling point for a retailer. Here's travel. $67 million category between packs and luggages and accessories. Travel packs, they grew 26%. So people are getting out and they are traveling. There's your rollers, just classic luggage. That's growing 17%. We're really impressed. Wallets, don't forget the accessories and all the little things and the locks and everything else, but wallets, especially the security type, they jumped 22%, and duffels and gear bags. And that's speaking more to like people throwing gear into their cars and going for long weekends or camping or out for the day. Essentially go bags, if they have them, they're ready to go. They can put in multiple varieties of sports or whatever and just have it ready, and they can grab it and go. So all of these categories are really speaking to people wanting to get out, to travel, get out of the cul-de-sac and find something new. And we expect this to continue to grow. All right, this man is not an axe murderer, he is an axe maker. And I picked his picture because it's very interesting. This whole urban woodsman thing is taking on a new aura of itself. Like, this is a boutique axe maker. And if you look, it's not just the urban woodsman driving these sales, but this guy is from Tribeca, New York. This is not Eugene or some sort of lumber area. This is Bronx. And they are selling. And our data shows axe is up 51%. And it's just all the little trinkets and things, the knives, the multi-tools, they're all showing good strength this year. And again, not just the urban woodsman, but it's the people going out, going camping. They're trying to find things that will get it done while they're outside. And, you know, not everyone produces these things, but if you sell them and you also help co-merchandise, you know, it's a tremendous opportunity to grow sales. Instruments, $112 million and up 22%. And they are driven mostly by action cameras. And action cameras is a smart category. The guy in the picture, not so much. But he did go buy an action camera, and he bought an accessory so he could put it in his head like that. The point is, this is not slowing down as a category. You might not be triple digit, but the mass and the number and also the accessories going out the door have as much velocity as ever. And this speaks and, like, you know, completely reinforces the technology and that sharing, where that is getting uploaded to YouTube or to Facebook. And if you don't have proof, you know, how do you know you're on that river? Binoculars, they've got a sudden spurt of growth in the last year or so. And this spring, they shot up 46%. Again, people going outside, they're going on their hikes. They want to see things. They want to find the birds. They're going to look for things. There's more of a sense of enjoying the outdoors, and that's how you want to market these. This is great when you're outside. It's part of exploring. It's part of geocaching. It's looking around, finding things. And since travel is up, these are perfect accessories for travel. Make sure you have a couple small ones, you know, in stock. And the newest category that is actually blowing up is fitness trackers. Again, it's a technology. It's new. Well, it's a fancy pedometer is what it is, but it's a very fancy pedometer, and it's driving sales, you know, up almost 800%. And it gives people a way to track and measure, and they like that. That's that technology. And I mean, who knew that like counting steps or counting, you know, flights of stairs would be such a big deal? It is. And what I love about these is that this fitness tracker category is not for your hardcore trail runner or ultra runner who are going to be wearing the heart rate monitors and the GPS, etc. This is for people who are participants. They want to get outside and they want to improve their health, and they're going to use technology to do it. And to just give you an idea of what that growth really looks like, that hockey stick is fitness pod trackers. They had, you know, like, well, basically the fitness trackers. They had some pods and like static sales for years from one brand, two brands, and then all of a sudden huge on the marketplace. This is definitely an ascendant category. A couple more key categories before we jump into sportswear and footwear. Soft shell tops. This is a blending category. It's in the middle. You know, there's sort of a nebulous type product, but, you know, as Potter Stewart said, I know it when I see it. And soft shells continue to grow. They're a steady category, and, you know, position them as, you know, as a manufacturer or a retailer as, you know, this is an all-round awesome piece to wear, especially in the shoulder seasons in spring and fall. Energy food. Energy food is continuing to grow. There are many, many new brands of bars and chews and powders out there. It continues to grow. There's a ton of product out there. And it's come a long, long way from when I worked the floor at Eastern Mountain Sports in the 90s and malt nut was a natural flavor. So yes, things are better. Mattresses, camp furniture, stoves, coolers, all those car camping, all that product out there that makes life better at the campsite, all showing super strong signs of growth. You want to have those stocked. Coolers, definitely a neat category. New brands are playing in there. A lot more expensive than the usual ones out there, and it's something that every store should have. Slack lines, you know, we can credit Madonna and the Super Bowl or not, but this has been a steadily growing category, and it continues to grow. When climbing itself is down, but it's only down in relationship to like a tremendous, tremendous 2012 spring. And here's our technology: solar power and batteries. 50%. People, when they are in the wilderness, they still need that technology and they need to charge it. And it's good old batteries, also up 17%. This is a huge, huge trend. We call it trails to cocktails, but what it means, and I wrote this whole thing out. I know it's bad webinar form or PowerPoint form, but product, especially for women, but it's like product as a whole, is evolving into a technical lifestyle product that can be worn just as comfortably on the trail as around town. And you've seen that in dresses and skirts and just plain old t-shirts and jackets. And the other sentence here are urban lifestyles that still offer, urban styles that offer protection from the wind and rain. So we're going to a totally different cut, a totally different vibe and feel that you wear around town, but you're still getting a lot of that technical protection you would get with a normal shell jacket or a soft shell jacket. Dresses have been growing for the past 3 years. They are up 17% again this spring. You are seeing them more and more on local trails. Of course, they're not going to be for the backpacking trips, but people are just wearing them, and once they're done with their hike, they can mosey on right over to their friend's house, to the bar, whatever, and it works perfectly. Same with skirts and skirts. They're up 8%, also been growing for several years. I love this picture. She's going to yoga, apparently, in a skirt. But that's okay, because she has her yoga pants in her small backpack that she bought at the Outdoor Channel with her water bottle and her tech tee that she can wear in a versatile sense anywhere. So it's all right there in this picture. But the problem is these yoga pants were probably purchased out of channel. And we'll get to it in just a second. But all those outside competitors are definitely putting a ding in a lot of women's sportswear sales, and we're going to get there. And we know that Outdoor Retailer is going to have probably way more yoga product than we've ever seen in our entire lives out there, and that's good because we need to steal those sales back. Sports bras, look at that, up 25%. This has more to do with retailers wising up and realizing that the women who shop in their stores are active or athletic or athletes. And why should they have to go out of channel to buy something that they're going to use in the outdoor space when they're buying their shoes or their socks and everything else? So instead of having to go to sporting goods or to mass, we have increased sales of sports bras in the outdoor channel, and that is a very good thing. And here's these urban styles. Almost getting military-esque in some of these with the epaulettes and the pockets and things, but much more casual, relaxed. One jacket that I didn't show, or what type of jacket is this? The classic yoga hoodie, almost just like a sweatshirt type jacket, which is also selling very well. Sportswear jackets for women is up 40%. That's significant. And these are not outerwear jackets. They're just jackets that they can wear around town from outdoor companies. So, outdoor yoga. See, we're blending. We need to do that because this is the growth category of sportswear of the future for the outdoor industry. How long it will last, can't say, but right now it's definitely ascendant, and it's going to have several years of traction. And if you do it right, you can definitely make some money. But there's Lululemon, there's Lucy, there's Athleta. They are sucking sales away from the outdoor category right now. And Lululemon can do practically no wrong. I mean, they sold see-through pants, and their stock barely took a ding for a short term. What's also impressive is Lululemon did it absolutely right. They addressed the problem. They acknowledged the problem. They offered full refund and or exchange. They were upfront. They did nothing to hide that. You compare that to the world of like SIG aluminum bottles, who mask the fact that they have BPA in the liners of their aluminum bottles, and you see where SIG is these days, virtually non-existent in the outdoor industry. The one brand that has been around for a long time and is doing phenomenally well, because they do have those yoga leanings and yoga styles and yoga product lines, is Prana. So they're leading the way, and you can bet your bottom dollar that a lot more people are going to be following fast on that trend. This is sort of proof of what we're seeing in the siphoning of sales going away from the outdoor side to the yoga stores. Look at the strong growth in sports bras and dresses and jackets and vests and long sleeve shirts. I need more arrows here. We need skirts and skirts, pants, which could have some yoga style in there. But look at this. Down in short sleeve shirts, down in sleeveless, which is technically tank tops, like 99% women's, and sport tops, which are going to be like, the longer form fitting type sports bras. All very yoga-esque, all sold to women, all negative, when everything else is up in the high singles or strong double digits. So this is where outdoor retail is going to be very important to see if they can sell in, and the retailers are receptive to a strong yoga presence and strong floor space dedicated to that. Further proof, we have women's sales eclipsing men's in sportswear for 2 years, 3 back there, and growing almost consistently for 4 years. And now, in the last 2, have given up share. Men's sales have been growing faster. Women's are growing, but they're specific to those dresses and those, those crossover or super specific women's products that are not exactly yoga-centric. So why is that happening? It's because sales are going elsewhere. And conversely, look at this. We don't want to pull out brands, but you look at the volume of brands that are very, very yoga or have extensive yoga lines, and their percent change and growth this spring is phenomenal. From large sales up 25, 27, 16%, and then new brands being brought in. And I just selected some just based on like how yoga-centric their product line is or what their website says and things. There are new brands, and they're exploding. So if you have a line coming in, make sure you get that front and center. All right, let's talk about price, especially here in sportswear. We have good sales, right? 9% growth. Every channel's up. 6% in specialty stores. 14 online. Chain is up 9. Really phenomenal growth for dollar sales. Boom, 4% for all stores, and down 3% in units. Down 3% in units for specialty stores. We're hitting the full stretch of that elastic price ability. We're watching prices come up a lot. They were up even higher earlier in the spring. They come down a little bit to keep sales moving. But a 5% growth total and 9% in specialty. I think we've hit a maximum threshold, at least for a little while, where we can't raise retail prices anymore. And it's good that prices have come up because costs have come up. And we know that production is so much more expensive over in Asia, with changing labor, higher raises, higher incomes for the people making the products, which is great for them, not great for the supply chainers trying to figure this out, and not great for retailers trying to transfer that cost onto the end user. But it's getting tight. There's room to grow it a little bit, but the fact that units are down and retails are up 9% at specialty is a bit of a canary in a coal mine and a leading indicator of where things are going. So, yeah, call those out right there. Inventory is flat for sportswear at specialty stores. It's like they're almost identical. And here's June, and we've got our inventory units almost identical to the last 2 years. What's nice is we are looking at and seeing very consistent sell-through. And sportswear is one of those categories that's constantly refeeding itself, and it shifts a little bit. And hopefully with these new shoulder seasons people are looking at, we're going to see, you know, more long sleeves, more pants, more sweaters come in earlier in the fall type thing. So, but a consistent 70% sell-through is pretty phenomenal. But look at this. This is dollars invested in inventory with these green bars. Boom, 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 up. And that red line is the average cost. And we have 2 dramatic increases in the last 2 years as these costs have been pushed on to the retailers. That's reality. We know that. It's, you know, more expensive to produce, materials, etc. You know, gas prices just to ship. It's, you know, everything is coming together. And this is how retail works. It gets pushed on to the retailer. The retailer is supposed to push the consumer. But it's not working as well as expected. This is retail margin in the spring for the past several years. That right there is our recession or economic downturn, whatever you want to call it. When product wasn't moving, retailers dumped prices and tried to liquidate as much as they could to get their open-to-buys back. And that's a huge divot. Well, look at that. The last 2 years, we are returning almost to the exact same levels for apparel and for equipment accessories. It's not as bad as it looks. This isn't zero, but we are losing 2 to 3 points in 2 years. And every one of those points is profit for a retailer. And retailers are investors, and retailers need to make as much money on every single dollar they invest in product. And if that profit is coming down, they're going to move to softer and softer goods. They're going to look for the highest margin possible. They will look for buyback programs. They're going to do anything and everything, even more aggressively, to see if they can get those retail prices higher and margins stronger. So it's not a good sign right now. Specialty is in a position now where they are going to be especially cutthroat when they're making buys to find out who can extend the greatest gross margin return on their investment. Let's jump over to footwear here. Footwear. Boom. We've got some good growth categories going on. Hiking boots are up, and they've been pretty strong for the past 4 or 5 years. It's good to see coming out of the recession how they've been doing well. A little divot last year, but it's hot. People went and bought sandals and lightweight hikers or lightweight multi-sports, etc. They were also probably dinged a little bit by the whole minimalist movement. But it's up. It's good to see, and it's a variety of brands that are growing. I would say the top 7, 8 are all up. Casual boots, non-insulated but not hiking boots, are also up. Much smaller category, but it's a growth category. Sealed boots, and these guys are kind of like that, the hunting / waffle stomper type things out there, and the Danners, the Red Wings, and some of the Timberlands are doing really well. They're growing, but it's tiny in outdoor space, where these urban woodsmen and this trend are really seeing good strength is actually in the department stores and even a little bit at mass. Where are our declines? Look at that. Shoes down. All shoes are down 7%. Multi-sports dumped nearly 20. Trail runners are down 1.5. Casual is up, which is good. And casual is up, but it's basically one brand. I won't say one brand. Like the one that's driving the vast majority of the growth is one brand. We won't say the name, but they've got a nice little. Instead of buy one, get one, they're much more of the buy one, give one variety. And they are slowing down a little bit at retail at specialty. But the category itself, casual shoes, the other brands in that space, are also doing well and growing. So it's a lifestyle thing. People, look the part, get a shoe from an outdoor company, you're probably still going to have better traction, better looks, a little more durability if you get it from a reputable manufacturer. It's a good category to watch. And why are multi-sport and trail runners down? 100% to do with minimalism. And minimalism is going away, especially within the multi-sport category. And so here, you take minimalist out, multi-sport shoes are up 10%. Trail runners are up 3%. So we are looking at growth categories, but it's in the non-minimalist styles. Here's multi-sport. That phenomenal growth of the minimalist-only shoe is almost completely and totally coming from, I won't say it out loud, but we'll call them Company V. And they provided phenomenal growth, and just as quickly it declined. And this bar graph seems to be making a mocking gesture at people looking at it, but it may be obscene in gesture. That sales and those profits, that was obscene. That was wonderful. And people made a ton of money, more than they did from their non-minimalist variety for a year, full year, and then 2 years of huge profits. That they got stuck with an inventory load at the end, yeah, that's too bad, but that hardly negates the profit that they made in these years. The other thing to look at, though, sales are absolutely flat at specialty stores for non-minimalist shoes. They got to pivot. They got to start thinking, get new multi-sport shoes in there that aren't going to be Company V. Here's chain stores. And chain also had really good growth. And interestingly, like normal product adoption, specialty starts to fade, chain keeps growing, and then like other channels, it moves over to sporting goods and then into mass. No, they start falling just as quickly as they did at specialty. So it was like a blip, 2 really good years, and then down again. But what's nice, and what the chains are doing, is they have changed their buying, and they are growing their non-minimalist multi-sport shoe sales. That's a good category, and I believe it's going to continue to grow. There's some new stuff going on. You're watching, like more hybrid-y water type shoes. You're looking at, almost sandal-like things. And the one other thing that I want to emphasize is, actually I'm going to take it to the next slide. Just because minimalism is going away doesn't mean people don't want lightweight, neutral type shoes. All right, that's Company V essentially in that multi-sport space in our data. Everyone is talking about minimalism 2.0. And minimalism 2.0 was an entire myriad of new brands that are entering the minimalist space. And most of them came into the trail running space and did exceptionally well. I mean, out of nowhere, sales shoot up to almost, above $10 million, almost $11 million. Another 65% takes them all the way up to almost $20 million. But interestingly, this category, which is supposed to be 2.0, and the new generation of minimalism and the way things were going to progress, and this was going to be a trend that stays, and this is how people are going to wear shoes and how they are going to run, is already declining. It's down 14% this spring, and at specialty, it's down 29%. That is a leading indicator. That canary is on life support right there. And I firmly believe we're going to see these minimalist models decline as people tried them, didn't like them, and they're moving back. But, and we're watching this trend in our running specialty data, those people are not just going right back to full-blown, full-shanked motion control heavy-duty shoes. Not at all. They're still keeping it down to it's going to be a more padded shoe with a greater drop, but they are still stripped down minimal neutral cushion shoes. So as you change your buying pattern or you change your product mix, don't go back into these big heavy-duty shoes. Still understand people like lightweight, less structure, minimalists just went too far. So what was an amazing category is already starting to fade. We have to pay very careful attention to it. And that are the trends like this spring. I mean, like the big things that we covered today really are, sales grew 9%. Units only grew 3%. So we are looking at the pressure of higher retail prices. It's driving sales, but those margins are shrinking. So the profits, while up, aren't as up as they could have been or should be. Sportswear, definitely an ascendant category. It's growing, and a huge opportunity in yoga and also those urban styles. And specialty inventory flat for that sportswear. If you got into some more slides looking at like other categories, you'd see that they've sold down the outerwear from the last time we had a webinar. Things are looking better, but it's not. They're still bloated in some categories, and we're looking at some declining margins. And this really should help, and you should take this and shape your thought process in designing products and how you market the product and how you display your product and sell the product and merch the product. And these people are consumers, are enthusiasts, are participants. The people who walk into your door or visit your website, it's not about owning the most expensive jacket. It's owning the cool jacket. It's owning the best jacket. It's owning the jacket that the price they can afford when they need it, they're going to buy and know they can trust it, and they know that they will have a reputable brand behind it, and they will be backed up by a good warranty. They are, again, they want to have the best thing out there to make their experience out there the best it can be, so they can measure it, and they can time it, and they can map it, and then they can share it and brag about it online in their blogs, in their Facebook pages, on YouTube, etc. This technology is integrated. We're going to see this evolve even further into smaller wearable technology. Like the GPS is already in a watch. It's going to get smaller. You're going to see clothing designed to hold phones. They already have the controls on sleeves for some outerwear. You're going to see a lot of this built right in. And remember, those fitness trackers, that's really playing to people who want to know what they're doing in a day, and they need to measure it, and they want to improve with it. And they are uploading it, and they are sharing that as well. And convenience. We need to consider products that work across multiple activities. You want sportswear that takes you from work to the trail to the bar, and they can look just as good. You see, and if you're out, you'll see people mountain biking in button-down short-sleeve shirts, but they are synthetic shirts. They've got the silver woven through them, or they've got some sort of charged carbon working in it so they don't stink, and then they can walk it right over again to a friend's house or to a restaurant or whatever. That category is exploding, and it's going to become more and more important as people condense their activities into tighter and tighter times, and they blend them with work and play at the same time. And I'm predicting we're going to have a fairly good fall. Sales did slow down a little bit in June, but it got hot. It was rainy. That was weather dependent. I think sportswear and outerwear, the trends in outerwear are very strong still with the lightweight, down-insulated, synthetic insulated, soft shells are growing. Footwear is going to be a challenge until we have new product and we buy new product and get it onto the shelves, because minimalism is, it's not the cash cow. So we need a new product that will do that, draw people into the store, have something as large. And until footwear can figure that out, and you either have the new wonder product or just have an entire flood of existing brands just hammering like new, better technology or different style type shoes, it's going to be a challenge going forward. And as I said, let's focus on these trends. I mean, they're the ones that are driving the sales, and it's experience. It's not bells and whistles necessarily. Those are important, but you got to make the bells and whistles tell them why it's going to make their experience outside better. So sales are up almost 10%. We're going into OR with everybody up in dollar sales. You know, they have more dollars locked in inventory than previous years because costs are higher, but they're making money. So feeling pretty optimistic. Things are going to go well, and I think it's going to be a good show, especially if you're a brand or manufacturer that's going yoga, going versatile, and or just has the ability to explain that experience. We're going to be at Outdoor Retailer. We're booth 76. If you'd like to set up an appointment, I mean, here I am. I get to pontificate for about 50 minutes. But set up an appointment. I'd love to talk, love to meet. Otherwise, just swing by our booth, say hi, see what's going on. We'll have trend sheets to hand out, and we can help you make some decisions. But that is it. So I just want to thank all of you for attending and listening to me pontificate. I hope you have a tremendous, I've said tremendous a lot today, haven't I? A fantastic outdoor retail show. And, you know, and I hope sales continue for you all the way through the holiday selling season. Again, appreciate being able to work in the outdoor industry with such great people who are dedicated to open space, keeping their lands open, keeping people healthy, fit, everything that's involved in that. So I am done, and we will open this up to questions. And let me open the question box here. All right. So again, if you're still around, if you have questions, go ahead and answer. I've got some already. Go ahead and fill in those boxes. But how would you assess the outdoor apparel market versus the running apparel market, which is more attractive which is more attractive for manufacturers? Outdoor apparel is definitely larger. Well, you have two worlds of running. Sportswear in the outdoor industry is $900 million category. Run specialty, the entirety is barely $1 billion. So, and apparel is a small subset. When you get into the run specialty stores, apparel is almost a secondary category. It's not as important. It does not have nearly the volume or the velocity as do shoes. These guys sell shoes, they sell expertise, they sell gait analysis, etc. So in the run specialty, you got some beautiful pieces out there, and they sell. It's not as big as you'd like to see it. But again, that's going to be mostly shirts and shorts. The sportswear, when I'm talking about outdoor, is going to be long sleeve and short sleeve and jackets and pants and everything else. So it's concentrated, which is more attractive for manufacturers. I mean, the big money would be sporting goods, which you can still sell running apparel, but I would call it versatile. The tech tees and shorts are doing phenomenally well within sporting goods stores, and they continue to grow. I mean, everyone has anyone who's active has a whole pile of tech tees in their drawers, and I'm sure they have some favorites and some that they just sit on, and you can just wear them out, repeated washings, etc. So the big money, truly big money, is in sporting goods if you're one of two major brands. Outdoor is a very attractive one. I think it's also more cutting edge in a sense. And then running is going to be a little bit smaller and more tailored to just pure runners. All right, so what constitutes outdoor aside from cycling, apparel, and running? Outdoor in our world is going to be the outdoor shops. It's when we talk about outdoor, we talk about the nuts and berries versus the hooks and bullets. So, if you think of all the national outdoor stores out there, your local outdoor stores, the ones that sell tents, backpacks, sleeping bags, but also all of that outerwear, so the shell jackets, the insulated jackets, the climbing gear, that's going to be the outdoor stores that we are talking about. We do not include the hunting and fishing. We do not include mass merchants. We do not include sporting goods stores, just the core sporting goods stores that have an outdoor assortment. And also, our online channel is going to be outdoor retailers selling online as well. So not eBay or anything broader in that sense. It's great that trail running shoes are over 50 million, but across how many stores? That in the outdoor space, we can, you know what, come back to me after I got your name. But we've got about 2,000 specialty stores. And the chain doors we are looking at, off the top of my head, I want to say we've got, 600, because we don't project up to all the national sporting goods stores. So it is a pretty broad category. But when you look at where the trail running shoes are going to be sold, it's concentrated in specialty stores and national outdoor stores. So the two biggies, and then in the specialty stores. Will the Carpe Trendum presentation be different than today's? Oh, absolutely. We're going to be much more into the consumer trending. We're going to call out some of the best-selling products. And, you know, I barely touched on some of the consumer. I mean, I like to tie it in and how they are affecting sales. But Carpe Trendum is going to have a much broader approach to that. Are there any brands gaining share in outdoor footwear? Absolutely. And if you are a client, feel free to call me and I can talk brands. But today we're not going to talk about brands as much as categories. And someone asked, can I get a copy of this presentation? Absolutely. I did remember to hit the recording button, so we will have a recording. And so we're going to send you a link to the presentation. And what I will do is like strip the animation out of this deck and have it so you will have a PDF version of this tomorrow. So we can do both things for you. What's my forecast for the rest of 13, 14? We're looking at, I'm predicting, and we're projecting 13 is going to finish up around 6% this year, which is good. I mean, it's continuing to grow. 14, a little harder to predict, but I think we're looking at pretty stable growth. So we're looking at, like, I would say, between 5 and 8% in 2014, depending on weather, of course, and depending on if yoga really takes off, it's going to be good. Footwear is going to be flatter until we come up with some new product out there. But I really do think that the rest of this year is going to be pretty decent for the outdoor industry. Why do the formats of the running reports and outdoor reports differ? Well, we have a couple things going on here. The running reports that we produce are coming from the running specialty channel. It has one channel of distribution. It's just the specialty stores. Our outdoor stores have multiple channels. We have specialty storefronts, we have the core chains, as we call them, and also online sales. So we're going to get a difference in there. Also, you're going to get slightly different categories. I mean, we're still going to have trail runners to trail runners, but we don't have road running shoes in our outdoor stores because they don't sell them. Running stores will have that. Apparel categories line up fairly well. But you're going to have completely different product mixes. And again, if you want to discuss, I can explain. We can do a side-by-side. But the formats are going to be different. And again, running specialty is going to be all about the shoes. Like almost 80% of their sales are coming from shoes directly. Again, what is your outlook for fall, winter when considering higher inventory levels? We did have a lot of leftover products. We know that. We're sitting on a ton. It did get sold down to a better degree, and that's why you're seeing a lot of the margins dip in apparel, because outerwear is getting sold down. It's still a glut. What I am hoping and thinking is we may not get as strong a sell-in as we want because retailers still have a lot of inventory. They were a little bit better this year, though. They didn't do that pack and hold like they did in 12, like the 11-12 winter, where instead of like lowering price and trying to move that product any which way they can and just recoup their OTB. Yes, they're going to lose some margin, but at least they have liquid money and that they can invest again. This year they sold down a little bit more, so there should be some open to buy for the newer outerwear styles, the new fall things going in. It's a lot of those tickets were booked though, and when were they booked? They were booked at last OR winter, SIA to a degree, And that was right in the recession, not recession, but right in the total full-on glut, especially before sales started to pick up in February and March. So I think the sell-in is going to be a lot less. And if they can keep margins up, it's still going to be a pretty good year because they do have that product. It's just not going to be great for manufacturers until it comes selling, and until they get down to manageable levels. Let's see, what is here? Oh, okay. Why don't running and outdoor both show inventory, gross margins, etc.? Well, running does. I'm not sure what report you're referring to. Our specialty store channels include a lot of the inventory and business metrics. So within the specialty store channel, so running specialty, outdoor specialty, ski specialty, all of those we get from our retailers and their point of sale data. We do get their inventory position. We do get their cost. And so with that, we're able to look at the units, the inventory dollars. We're able to calculate gross margin return on investment. We're able to look at retail margin. We do not get that information from the chain stores nor online stores. So with those channels, we can see units, dollars, and average retail price. And still infer, by the velocity of sales. We can infer from what specialty is doing, how they're doing in a business intelligence sense, but we can't see that. But Run Specialty does definitely have those. One good question, that's a very good question. When we quote annual or seasonal or year-to-date growth, do we separate comp store from total growth? No, we are talking about total growth because we want to see the volume of these products, and we want to see the volume going through and being produced and sold through retail. So, if major chains are opening doors left and right, they're selling that many more packs and that many more pairs of shoes and that many more jackets. And that is the volume we want to address, so we see the total size of the industry out there. A little deceptive in some sense because, you're growing sales, but maybe those comp stores are still going to be more static or show slower signs of growth. But when you're looking at the industry as a whole, you do want to look at that total volume. And that looks like all the questions for today. So everybody, thank you very, very much. Again, if you're at OR, love to meet with you. Set up an appointment or just swing by. And I'm happy to help out and have a very good outdoor summer retail market, or outdoor retail summer market, excuse me, and enjoy sunny Salt Lake. I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much for attending, and have a fantastic weekend.